70s and 80s, and is purely coming from the cinema which I saw when I was a student at FTI. It was the cinema I fell in love with. It was the filmmakers I adored. I loved every bit of the film, and when over the years, when I would see these films, I was extremely upset about the way they were sort of deteriorating. They were not the way they should have been, and my very close interactions with all these great filmmakers. I had great interactions with Girish, who's a great friend, and he was always upset that Ghattashraddha needs to be restored. So we decided to do this journey, and I'm very lucky that some of the biggest names in the world, I have been able to be associated with them. One is Martin Scorsese, who's as you know, is one of the great advocates. And he's always said that what is most important, people have asked him, what is most important to you, your filmmaking or thing? And he said the most important thing is restoring, bringing back cinema, which he saw when he was making his films. And I think that's purely the reason, even for me, I shifted from making films to doing what I'm doing, is purely because I think there is nobody else doing it. And at that point, it was so difficult that if I wouldn't have done it, many of these films wouldn't have survived. And today I'm very glad that Scorsese is partnering with us. And then we have another big giant, George Lucas. So Lucas runs this foundation, and it was an interesting journey. I get a mail or a call or whatever you can call it, email, yeah, saying that I think Marty and Lucas probably had dinner together, and they probably discussed that this film I want to restore because, you know, I have in pipeline films like Amar, and our next restoration is Annie Gives It to Those Ones, which is Pradeep Kishan and Arundhati's film. And so this Lucas and his wife said, we would like to restore Ghattashraddha. And how many of our Indian filmmakers want to restore anything here? Yeah, you want to be. George Lucas, sitting all the way in LA, decides to do a film like Ghattashraddha. That itself speaks about the volume of what they feel about heritage. And the journey of Ghattashraddha began. I had already brought the film from the NFAI and started. The sound was the most difficult thing. Even now, you know, after it was screened in Venice, I was still working on the sound, because what had really happened is the negatives were all lying in a lab in Mumbai. It was K.V. Subarna, who was the producer of this film, had passed it on to Girish Kasarvalli, and the negative had almost deteriorated. P.K. Nair, my great mentor, found out about it and made a dupe of the negative, and the negatives of the sound, and it sort of vanished. And then the dupe was also with a lot of defects. It took us a long time to fix the negative, dupe negative. I mean, we had a negative which was not so great in condition. And it's an interesting story. The house which you're going to see in the film is the house of Girish Kasarvalli himself. And that was his first debut film. But I want to just tell you one interesting thing about Girish. When I was restoring, you know, we were in constant dialogue towards grading, sound. He wanted to make changes in the film. He said, you know, I just finished from FTI, Shivendra, and I've got to make this I could have done it this way. This I could have. And one of the ethics of restoration is that you cannot make any changes. You cannot colorize a film. You cannot make a change. You have to make it the way it was at that time when it had released. So we didn't, and the last call he did is, to me, he says, can you just give me the film? I just want to re-edit this film. And that's what he felt. Even after on Venice, you know, when we were together in Venice, he saw it. He said, those shots could have been much tighter, and those shots could have gone, and this and that. But when you see the film, why do you call these cinemas such great? It's because these filmmakers, the manner in which they made it, the ethics, the whole idea of the culture which we talk about. Why do I love regional cinema? It is because the true culture of India the stories about the small people, by the common people, is in our regional cinema. And that is why Ghattashraddha is such a beautiful film. And I'm sure you'll all like it. The sound is still, you know, some portions I find it a little distinct, but there's nothing we could do. We've done our best over a period of over a year. And finally, we hope the world will be seeing it. It's going to be screened in many festivals. I hope you have a great screening. Thank you very much.